order for you to stop overthinking, you have to acknowledge that you have negative thoughts. Welcome or welcome back. It's your favorite mental health specialist, Ty Guidance, and that's what we're going to talk about in today's video. Are you an overthinker? Are you constantly having anxiety? Do you constantly feel anxious? Are you constantly doubting yourself? Are you constantly comparing yourself? Do you constantly feel so unworthy and low of yourself? If so, make sure you like this video, comment down below, turn on your post notifications, and subscribe. The first thing we have to do in order for us to even acknowledge and to determine how we're going to handle these negative thoughts, the first thing we have to do is realize, where did these negative thoughts come from? Now, of course, you know yourself more than anybody else, so always take what resonates and leave the rest. But there was a seed that was planted in you. Nobody is born a hater. That has to be taught. Nobody is born a serial killer or a murderer, okay, an RAPEST or RPIST, those things. Nobody is just intentionally, when they're little, saying when they grow up they want to be in a low vibration. Nobody says, oh yeah, when I grow up I want to be in poverty, I want to be homeless, I want to be beaten on, I want to go through trials and tribulations. You get the point, okay? You should be acing over watching these videos. So that's the first thing you have to realize. It's not that you just woke up one day and decided, oh yeah, when I grow up, I just want to be anxious. I want to have OCD. I want to have ADD. I want to be diagnosed with these titles and these labels and attachments. There was somewhere amongst your journey in your life, whether it started early in your childhood, in your teenage years, or in your adult years, that you started to experience this negativity. And a lot of times it stems from trauma. It stems from abuse, psychologically, emotionally, mentally, physically, financially. It stems from your caregivers. It stems from generational cycles, as well as our environments and our communities, or even in schools and the atmospheres that we grew up in. You have to realize that somebody has said something to you or something has happened to you. You don't just have these thoughts naturally. How do I know this? Well, because when you were a little baby, you didn't even know how to speak. A lot of times you cried, which is natural and normal, okay? But you couldn't even communicate. Like I said, we have to be taught certain things. So the first thing we have to do in order for us to even understand if these negative thoughts are true is to realize, where did these beliefs come from? Did you grow up in poverty? Did you grow up in a toxic household where you suppressed your emotions at an early age? Did you experience some type of trauma? When you watch these videos, they're going to be extremely triggering, but the goal is for us to go inside, which people say understand to understand, which is to go inside and realize where these thoughts are coming from. The second thing we have to do once we realize where we heard these things or where we saw these things is to then acknowledge what you're feeling. You cannot deny the negativity. In order for you to even transmute negativity into positivity, you have to acknowledge that you feel some type of way. So an example of this would be if, let's just say, you're overthinking about becoming successful. Maybe you have a fear of getting the dream house or going back to school or losing weight or buying a car, starting a business, being a content creator, because when you were little or at a part of your life, you had these dreams and these desires. And maybe, like I said, the community, you were surrounded by people who, tried to shun you. Maybe people tried to silence you. Maybe people were envious of you. Maybe you dealt with being abused. Maybe you weren't able to express or articulate yourself. We have to realize that what we are feeling, if it's not genuinely what we believe, it's a projection. So you have to acknowledge and verbally say, I just feel like, let's just say you're a content creator because I'm posting content. I just feel like nobody's going to watch my videos. It's going to take me a long time to reach these goals. And or whatever it is that you're feeling like, you have to learn how to acknowledge the negativity, because we have to face these fears. We have to face these negativities, but you're not going to be able to do that if you try to sweep your problems underneath the rug and act like you don't feel the way you do. So if you're a content creator, like I said, I'm just using this example because this is a YouTube video, you would say something like, I've been posting videos for a long time and I just feel like my content isn't getting the recognition that it's receiving, or I just feel like maybe I started too late, or whatever it is. Like I said, you know your situation better. Once you're able to talk about what you are feeling, and like I said, you know where these projections are coming from, you then now have to sit with yourself. You then have to realize, okay, this is a feeling. And regardless if it's true or false, there is a reason you're feeling this way. You could be feeling this way, like I said, because maybe you did have goals and desires and you told people they didn't support you. Maybe you don't come from support. We have to realize that when it comes to healing, there's so many layers, there's so many stages, and there's so many phases. And you guys, my voice is still underneath the weather, so make sure you turn the volume all the way up. I'm going to say that in the video. Make sure you turn the volume all the way up. Turn on your CCs. It should be at the top or the bottom, which is your closed captions, the subtitles, so the words are on the screen. Okay? Bear with me. Okay? So now that you realize, okay, what it is that you're feeling, and you're not trying to, invalidate your experience, because when you invalidate your experience, you can't come up with a solution. How are you supposed to overcome this fear or this projection, even if, like I said, it wasn't something that you are feeling? The next thing you do after that is you have to feel it. So it can cause you to feel angry. It can cause you to feel frustrated. There is a such thing as righteous anger. You are allowed to be mad, angry, and upset. Why? Because you're a human being, you have feelings, and your feelings are valid. Regardless if you don't have a friend, family, a therapist, me, your favorite mental health specialist, you have to learn how to deal with your emotions if you don't believe in God, ancestors, and the universe. Because nobody is going to help you. If you don't have a good support system, if you don't have friends and family, if you don't have a guidance counselor, if you're not able to book a service and a session with me or follow me on social media and watch these videos and apply this information, you're going to feel like you're lonely, and you're not lonely, you're just alone. But in life, that's the problem. A lot of us have been programmed with attachment issues, abandonment issues, neglect issues. A lot of us, like I said, do come from these dysfunctional, chaotic, toxic, envious, low vibrational environments. And when you are the only person in your community who doesn't want to engage or condone with that type of behavior, you have to realize it doesn't have to be hard, it doesn't have to be difficult, but it's going to be unfamiliar, and it requires more energy and effort. So like, you have to be willing to isolate yourself and separate yourself and feel angry. Like, if somebody said that you were a loser, or somebody said that you weren't capable of doing certain things, that's going to make you feel some type of way. Rather, you heard that repetitively in your household, at school, your coworkers, even your significant others. You have to realize that even though those people are not the best people in the world, even those people are miserable, even though those people feel the way they do, that doesn't mean you have to receive energy. And that's something that you have to work on. Like, once you realize what you've gone through, what resources you have, what's in your control, you can learn how to say, you know what, fears, middle finger up to you, F you, because I know what I'm going through. I don't need to compare myself. I don't care about how anybody feels, because I'm doing this alone. Like, nobody is helping me, or whatever it is. You have to realize that you have to talk about those uncomfortable conversations in order for you to come up with a solution. Once you're able to identify what it is that you're feeling, you then can, like I said, evaluate and sit with yourself. But until you feel the anger, until you feel the frustration, because it's like, when people bully you, when people make you feel bad, when people are touching on you, when you grow up a certain type of way and you want to do certain things, it can make you feel like you're not capable, and that's not true. You just may not know how. Like, if you don't have the resources, if you don't have the finances, if you don't have the support, you're learning how to do things alone. And like I said, a lot of people are not self-made. A lot of people have a lot of handouts, and it's not to knock anybody, because if your parents or your caregivers are fortunate enough to take care of you, that is their obligation. That is their job. They signed a birth certificate legally, okay? That is a document. Those people were supposed to do the best that they could. But at the end of the day, because people are not always going to be in your life, and there's nothing wrong with having help and assistance, you still have to learn how to do things for yourself, because if not, you become enabled and you become entitled, and that's what we don't want to do. It's nothing wrong with having people that are there for us. They can help us when they can, but the goal is to be so self-sufficient, self-independent, and secure in ourselves that when we're going through difficult times, when we vent to people, we're not putting all our problems on them, or we're not self-sabotaging ourselves and other people. Because what happens is, if you don't learn how to talk about those uncomfortable conversations, if you don't feel the anger and the frustration from the betrayal and the trauma, you're going to end up self-sabotaging yourself. You're going to overthink yourself out of these situations and opportunities, and you're going to feel stuck and stagnant. And that's when you start to become paralyzed. That's why people have PTSD. It's a mindset. Once you can unprogram and relearn and unlearn information that's no longer feeding your mind and your energy and your spirit and whatever it is that you believe in, you won't have to worry about overthinking things. You will just realize, okay, I'm overthinking, like I said, the content creation. That was an example, because maybe you just started a YouTube channel. Maybe you only have one video. Maybe you only have 5 subscribers. Maybe you had a goal to be a YouTuber, but you never started because you didn't have the equipment, you didn't have the support, or you're posting content and you see people are not willing to help you. Like, whatever it is, you have to be honest about it, and you have to feel the way you do. And the more that you realize, okay, what can I do today within the 24 hours? How can I realistically start? The more over time you put in the energy and the effort is when you start to, sorry you guys, I got a confirmation. The more you will start to realize, okay, this is where I am, this is what I have, and this is what I'm willing to do. Because honestly, when it comes to like overthinking, it's literally a choice. And you have to realize too, when you have a certain energy, when you have a certain frequency, if you are spiritual and religious, like, there are going to be people, places, and things who could be a distraction and who don't mean you well. Like me personally, I grew up around, I would say 50-50. Like 50% of people were like love and light, and 50% of people were dark, or 99% and 1%. I never allowed the darkness to hinder me or to bother me, because I know who I am at the end of the day, and I've never felt the need to be liked or to prove myself. Now, a lot of people say that, they don't mean that. That's why I continue to post these videos. I continue to look how I look, because it's like, at the end of the day, I am a self-made person. Like, I'm making these videos alone, and it's just like, when you don't feel the need to prove yourself or to be pressured, you could take as long as you need to learn how to stop overthinking. Like, learning how to overthink, there's not a one size fit all. That's why I always tell you guys to take what resonates, leave the rest. Everyone's not going to align with my videos. Everyone doesn't have to. And you have to realize that, like, once you realize that you're angry because somebody said that you weren't able to do something, once you realize that the people who try to like come into your life or try to betray you, or who didn't want to support you, were just envious or a hater, or they're a loser, you will realize, okay, they're only saying that because you're capable. Like, I'm here to reassure you, inform you, and educate you. And I'm trying to make these videos entertaining, but it's like, let's be for real. Like, people who try to like stop you or limit you, or who don't want to help you, know that you honestly could do it alone. And that's the reason why people feel some type of way, or people are not willing to support you. So it's just like, if you don't have family, if you don't have friends, you have to learn how to sit with yourself, other than believing in God, ancestors, and universe. Like I said, I'm not here to force that on you, but it's just like, if you don't believe in that, you got to believe in yourself, love. And learning how to believe in yourself when you don't have nothing, or you don't believe in anything, it takes time. Like I said, healing is not a one size fit all. It could take years, days, months. So it's just like, in order for us to stop overthinking, we have to acknowledge how we feel. We have to go through the withdrawals. Like, some days you may feel good, some days you may be mad. Like, you have to release it. Rather, you get a notebook and a journal, you write it down, you book a service and a session with me, your favorite mental health specialist, you seek a therapist, you seek some type of professional help or assistance, you find a guidance counselor, you find community. But you have to learn how to verbalize and acknowledge what it is, because it's like, I talk in these videos because it's healthy, it's an exercise. If you don't talk about how you feel, you're going to keep trying to sweep it underneath the rug, and then eventually the rug, you're going to have to throw it in the trash, and everything's going to hit you at one time, and that's when you feel the most. But it's like, we're not stuck and stagnant. We feel stuck and stagnant because our past traumas. We feel stuck and stagnant because, like I said, we don't have the resources or the trials and tribulations that we've been through. We cannot allow the trials and tribulations in our past to stop us, because the best version of yourself, the healed version of yourself, was able to overcome those things. So I'm gonna have the video like that, because I don't want to make this video too long. So if you guys have questions, comments, concerns, make sure you give this video a big thumbs up. Make sure you're commenting down below, turn on your post notifications, subscribe, follow me on all social media platforms. All the information will be in my description box below. If you're interested in a service or a session, click the link in my description or in my bio. or my about section at psychologistsummer.com, and DM me on Instagram. DM me on Instagram if you're not able to afford a session or a service. And make sure you guys are following me on TikTok and on Instagram. I'll be going live until we reach our goal here on YouTube, which we'll be reaching very soon. I want to say thank you guys for watching and liking and engaging. And don't be shy because you watched the video all the way to the end. Like, if you're serious about your mental health and just become the best version of yourself, you can't be worried about how other people feel about you. Like, there's nothing wrong with you. You know what you went through, and you don't need to be ashamed or embarrassed. And that's what we're going to be talking about. Until you stop being embarrassed, until you own up to what it is, until you stop feeling like the victim, until you actually take the time. It requires a lot of energy, a lot of work, and most importantly, a lot of effort. Okay? Love you. Bye.